Ya saben que parte de lo que sentimos nosotros en este programa, que es nuestra chamba, es traer de cualquier parte del mundo, de la que sea en donde encontremos, a especialistas que nos parece que vale la pena que todos escuchemos. No importa en qué idioma hablen. Y hoy fuimos a traer desde Victoria, en Canadá, a Bob Molle. Él es conferencista, es coach de negocios. Fue un famosísimo deportista canadiense, ahora retirado, especialista en lucha libre olímpica, llegó a ser subcampeón olímpico en Los Ángeles 84, es autor del libro Siéntete cómodo, estando incómodo, el cual busca pues inspirar a todos para dejar tu zona de confort. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Are you at your 100%? Because I know you flew in this morning.
No, one more coffee and I think I might...
Okay, one more coffee. Tráiganle café a Bob para que esté a su 100%. Y después está con nosotros Darren Weeks. Darren es educador financiero, coautor y socio y asesor por 17 años de Robert Kiyosaki, a quien seguramente ustedes conocen muy bien, mejor conocido como el Padre Rico Canadiense, es autor del libro El arte de recaudar capital, fue dueño de la empresa Fast Track en Canadá desde el 2001, con reconocimiento en el Profit List como una de las empresas con mejor crecimiento durante 3 años consecutivos, ha recaudado más de $500 millones en inversiones, o sea, queremos ser su amigo. Y es coautor con Robert Kiyosaki de Más importante que el dinero. Y, de hecho, vamos a regalar libros tanto de Bob como de Darren. Darren, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be back. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I want to start with the obvious. And I love the title of Bob's book. And I know you work together, so this is going to be a back and forth conversation. Just give me time to say everything in Spanish. How to feel comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where I want to start. Because I think that many of the decisions we make and do not make in our life, on everything, on the job we are having right now that we don't particularly like, on the investment decisions that we make, on the marriage that we have, is a decision between comfort and discomfort. And we usually gravitate as human beings on being very comfortable.
Yeah, so true.
Okay, so shoot.
Well, I got really pushed into that environment at a very young age. And it seemed like everything that I wanted to achieve, I had to get really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the biggest story at a young age, you're already Olympics is just, I was only 21. 21. Yeah.
Wow.
And you're in the Olympic final, and to get the magnitude of something, a media guy came up to me and said, I remember, and he was telling me about for the Olympic final, there's an audience of 550 million people watching you, right?
Yeah.
And just that, and you're uncomfortable. And are you going to make a move? Are you going to be on the front page of the paper the next day, losing right away or whatever? It's a lot uncomfortable. And when I learned all these little different pieces along the way, it helped me forge my career forward. And everybody, you said it probably the best, is just guess what we've been taught all along. Go comfort.
Go comfort.
And everywhere I went uncomfortable, I learned so much more. I learned about people, learned about relationships, and even going out and meeting someone. Like as simple as, we always talk about relationships. We're goofy about that. And, you know what I mean? You haven't introduced yourself to someone, and that, guess what? Sometimes people feel uncomfortable. What happens if I say the wrong thing? What happens if I do this? And I just go out and be me. And you know what? Well, I got to give a compliment to Mexico on a whole on this one. My wife, because she's flying back tomorrow, to come. And she says to me, I said, why are we always go to Mexico? We met in Mexico.
Yeah.
And she's the boss, la jefa, a judge, right? And she goes, why I like Mexico? She likes people that are authentic, real people, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a cool thing where you can just be yourself all the time. And I think when we go meet and have different relationships, the stories that come out, and I've been uncomfortable all my life, meeting people and stuff like that. And now it's just natural.
Yeah. Le digo que quería empezar por entender el tema de cómo sentirte, es el tema del libro de Bob, cómo sentirte cómodo en la incomodidad. Porque digo que muchas de las decisiones que tomamos o dejamos de tomar tienen que ver con el nivel de comodidad que tenemos y que los seres humanos tendemos a gravitar hacia las cosas, no importa si es en el trabajo, si es en una relación, si es en las decisiones que tomas todos los días, a sentirnos cómodos. La incomodidad es algo que no es natural para nosotros. Y Bob me dice, pues imagínate, yo tenía 21 años, estaba en las Olimpiadas, me decía una persona de medios, si estás consciente que te van a ver 500 millones de personas en el mundo, entonces solamente eso es suficientemente incómodo. Y cómo a través de su vida tuvo que aprender a estar incómodo para lograr lo que ha logrado. Y la incomodidad viene de muchos lados, desde las relaciones, el simple hecho de conocer a alguien nuevo y sentirte que corres el riesgo de ser juzgado o de no ser aceptado. Eso también es incómodo. Y bueno, un comentario al calce es que su esposa y él se conocieron acá y que siempre vienen a México y que les encanta México, y dice que una de las cosas más maravillosas de este país es que los mexicanos somos muy, muy, muy auténticos. Now, what would you say, Darren, on what are the best tools to be comfortable being uncomfortable?
Personally, I think it's your environment. Yeah. So, when I hang out with guys like Bob or Robert Kiyosaki, they're always pushing. They're always pushing you to do things that made them successful. But when I look at it, most people would rather be the comfort side.
Yeah.
So I think to some degree, I look back at whatever kind of success you want to say. I've had a little success in business. I just do things nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
But it's just always been uncomfortable. So if you hang out with the guys that push you, I think that's the best.
And it's very interesting what you just said, because we spent like the last 2 weeks talking about family systems. And sometimes it's even your family that pushes you to stay in your comfort zone, because misery usually loves company. Would you agree?
At almost every event, I say the same thing. It's your friends. Sometimes you need to hang out with new friends, spend less time with some friends, probably less time with family, and sometimes maybe a new spouse.
Yeah. O sea, revealing comment de Darren Weeks. Es que le digo que entonces, ¿cuál es su opinión de cómo sentirte cómodo estando incómodo? Y me dice, yo creo que es tu medio ambiente. Yo creo que es la gente que te rodea. Me dice, pues yo estoy rodeado de gente como Bob, como Robert Kiyosaki, que siempre están empujando y estirando la liga. Y dice, y yo creo que yo ya me acostumbré, después de tantos años cómodo con la incomodidad, a hacer lo que pocos quieren hacer. Y ahorita les voy a decir lo que yo siempre les digo a ustedes. Hay muy poca gente que quiere hacer lo que muy poca gente hace. Y uno en la vida, si quiere tener lo que pocos tienen, tiene que estar dispuesto a hacer lo que muy poca gente quiere hacer. Y dice, y la verdad es que le comento que llevamos como 2 semanas en el programa clavados con los sistemas familiares, y que a veces es tu misma familia la que quiere jalarte a que sigas en tu zona de confort, porque a la miseria le encanta la compañía. Y muchas veces en la familia entera, pues si todos se sienten más cómodos en una zona de confort, a lo mejor si tú tuvieras el interés o la ambición de salirte de ahí, te jalarían de regreso para que no dejes de formar parte de ese sistema familiar. Y me dice 100%, a veces tienes que cambiar de amigos, a veces tienes que poner a un lado a tu familia, y a veces hasta tienes que cambiar de pareja. That was very revealing. I always tell the audience that if you want to have what few people have, you have to be willing to do what few people would do.
That could be the title of Bob's next book.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, how can I meet my goals? Darren, let's start with you.
Well, I think the first thing I like to do is write them down. And I remember having goals from over 20 years ago now, and I look back a few years after I wrote them down and you accomplished them. So
I think that very few people even have their goals conscious.
Agree.
Agree?
Totally agree.
Like we're just reacting to life and, doing whatever life throws at that day and trying to react. And then I was saying yesterday that suddenly you realize that you became a secondary actor or a supporting actor to your life. It's like your life has its own life, and you're just reacting and trying to solve whatever life throws at you.
Yep.
Instead of being proactive.
Well, at least if you have that written down, then you know where you want to head. People are rudderless, I guess you would say. So I just like to write them down. And Bob's got some great ideas on how to make sure that they're accomplished as well.
How do you accomplish the goals?
Well, I'm kind of whacked, I think. But I had some great mentors at a younger age, and if you got great mentors, well, you're running your courses, and it's all entrepreneurship was what get uncomfortable. The best thing I could say that happened in my life, I got told, Bob, you can never go wrong doing stuff that gets you excited. And I never had to, how someone said, oh, I'm not motivated to do that, or I don't want to wake up every morning and try this and that. And the cool thing when I started setting my goals, Olympic medal, I wanted to get an Olympic medal. It got me excited, right? Playing professional football got me excited, right? There was never, and a lot of people lose motivation. And I think they went in with the wrong idea. They went in with a goal that, oh, I have to do that, or someone told me to do that. That's what I should. And they wrote for but there wasn't any passion behind it. Like, when I got excited, and I don't think a lot of people don't line up.
But what I think is that people obviously get excited, but they get excited about the result. They get excited about the gold medal. They get excited about, buying the house or being in Harvard doing an MBA. What they're not excited about is the process.
You hit the word right on the head. Enjoy the process, right? And a lot of people don't enjoy the process. I do. We were just talking about this morning. We were talking about routines. And what do you like to do? I like to exercise. I like to do this and it was routine for me, right? To go do your exercise, do your weightlifting. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the camaraderie with the people. We just talked about this morning. Enjoying the process.
Well, my friend.
Yeah.
Es que le digo que cómo haces cumplir tus metas. Entonces dice Darren, es que lo primero es escribirlas. Increíblemente, muchos de nosotros no tenemos metas. Lo que platicábamos ayer, como que tu vida tomara vida propia y tú eres como un actor secundario que nada más está reaccionando a lo que sucede en tu vida como si tú no tuvieras ningún control sobre él. Y me dice Darren, 100% de acuerdo contigo, muy poca gente se sienta a escribir cuáles son sus metas. Y Bob dice, yo creo que de lo que mi gran aprendizaje de los mentores que yo tuve en mi vida es sin duda saber que no te vas a equivocar si haces cosas que te emocionan. Entonces dice, pues a mí me emocionaba dedicarme a lo que me dedicaba, que era el deporte, me emocionaba muchísimo el fútbol. Y le digo, sí, es que yo siento que el problema que tenemos muchos seres humanos es que nos entusiasma el resultado, pero no nos entusiasma el proceso. Nos entusiasma imaginarnos con la casa nueva o con un trabajo espectacular o ya sentados en un salón de clases haciendo un MBA en Harvard, pero el proceso para llegar a hacer eso es lo que no nos parece tanto. Ese es el precio que muchas veces no queremos pagar para llegar a las metas. Y dice que justamente estaban hablando eso en la mañana, que en efecto, si tú amas el resultado, tienes que amar el proceso, which is something I find very difficult. I know you understand Spanish very well because you live in Cabo.
Getting there. I've been taking lessons as well.
Am I doing a good job?
Fantastic, right, Bob?
Okay. So, a ver, next point. How do you get out of your comfort zone? Let's think of all the people listening right now that in their heart, there's something that is super exciting, but it's difficult. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take a lot of emotional and energy investment to make happen.
I'm going to answer it with something Bob taught me, then I'll throw it over you.
Okay.
Bob always said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Mm-hmm. So what's your suggestion? How do you get people started?
Well, that's actually dovetails into another comment I was thinking when she was asking the question. I think we have a perception of everywhere in the world failure is a bad thing. And we're not scared of like failure. We're just like, we go look at something and we go, it's a learning lesson. What's stupid to me, and you and I have talked about that, is when you didn't learn the lesson, you made the same mistake twice, right? And so many people, and please step out and comment on this because this would be a great discussion. How many people are scared of failure?
Yeah.
And failure is such a terrible word in that, but guess what? I always thought it was part of the process. Like, how do you get better? Well, you have to fail along the way. But guess what we've taught everybody? Oh, you failed, she failed at this, and oh, you didn't do that, or you didn't run at this time, or didn't do this, or didn't that. Yeah, welcome to the process, right? Enjoy the process. It's not failure. Learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what Robert Kiyosaki taught me, is because you go back to the belief systems we have, going to school systems, for instance, and I wasn't a gifted student, so I always felt stupid if I made a mistake, if I failed something.
Yeah.
But in business, you're going to fail. And Robert changed my mindset. It's okay, you're going to have to fail, just don't do it twice. So many people are so scared to fail, mainly because that's their mindset from school, plus their parents don't want them to fail.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. Just don't fail too big.
Well, we have a saying from a great therapist that's been on the show many times that says, it's okay that you lose everything as long as you don't lose the lesson. If you want to write a book about
that's
one of your stories.
That's one of my stories. I got that taught at, can I tell a quick story? Like,
okay, of course, super quick.
Well, this is I was an Olympic medalist in college still when I was wrestling, and I lost at Washington State University. Big match, sold out, and I lost the match where a guy I should have beat every time. And that's exactly what he was my Olympic coach too. And he walked by and looked at me. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. Cause I'd relaxed in the match. And it was embarrassing. 7,000 fans are cheering for this guy. And I'm just like, that's the exact line he told me.
Yeah.
And guess what? I learned. I said, boom, you don't relax. You got 6 minutes. Come on.
Claro. Es que estamos hablando de cómo le haces para salirte de verdad de esa zona de confort. Entonces, lo que dice Darren es, sin duda alguna, creo que el gran problema que tiene el ser humano es que le tiene pánico al fracaso. Y Bob dice, creo que ese es el gran problema, que estamos tan apanicados del fracaso que entonces, por razones obvias, no te atreves a intentar. Y si eso le añades la fórmula de la falta de autoconfianza, la falta de autoestima, la falta de creer en ti, pues todavía es más complicado atreverte si tenemos esta idea de que el fracaso es lo más terrible del mundo. Y dice, por ejemplo, Darren, que él era pésimo estudiante, ¿no? Y que siempre tuvo este miedo de fracasar y que Roberto Kiyosaki le decía, a ver, en los negocios vas a fracasar. La gran gracia, que es a lo que hemos dicho muchas veces en este programa, es no importa lo que pierdas, siempre y cuando no pierdas la lección. Entonces decía Roberto a Darren, no importa que fracases. El chiste no es fracasar en lo mismo 2 veces. Entonces Bob dice, oye, yo quiero compartirles que yo, pues era medallista olímpico en prepa y, estaba en un partido importantísimo en el estado de Washington, en Estados Unidos, y, o sea, perdí tan grave enfrente de mi oponente porque me relajé, porque no estaba concentrado. Y llegó mi coach y me dijo, no importa que hayas perdido, siempre y cuando no pierdas por la misma razón 2 veces. Regresando del corte, vamos a hablar con ellos. ¿De dónde sacas, la fuerza de voluntad? ¿De dónde sacas el apoyo que sientes que no tienes? Y obviamente los vamos a invitar a una super conferencia, se llama Super Conference 2022, Super Conferencia 2022, que va a ser el 8 y 9 de octubre aquí en la Ciudad de México, en el Hotel W en Polanco. Ahorita les explico de qué se trata el evento. Obviamente, todos invitados. Hacemos una pausa y regresamos.
Calaveritas de Baile 2022. La Catrina se pasea por toda la estación. Busca y busca la de baile para darle una instrucción. Avisa a tus hijos cuentavientes, le dijo jubilosa, que te deben mandar una calavera hermosa. Marta corrió a la cabina despavorida para dar aviso ese mismo día. La Catrina estaba contenta con la de baile y quedó en algunas alegrías mandarle. Marta de baile quedó muy emocionada, porque así hará feliz a la cuentavientada. Calaveritas de Baile 2022. Manda tu calaverita a radio@martadebaile.com. Tienes hasta el 21 de octubre. Habrá grandes alegrías para los 3 mejores. Calaveritas de Baile 2022. Solo por W Radio.
Son las 11:07 de la mañana en W Radio. Estamos hablando con Bob Molle y Darren Weeks, que han dedicado su vida a el emprendedurismo, a coachar, a enseñar, a escribir. Y hoy estamos hablando de cómo te sales de tu zona de confort y cuáles son las claves para obtener tus metas corto plazo. Entonces, ya hablamos de el arte de salirte de tu zona de confort, que no es algo natural para el ser humano. Ya hablamos de por qué es importante tener metas súper claras, inclusive dice Darren, escribirlas. Y ahora vamos con the will. A brother of mine always says, where there's a will, there's a way. I love that saying. Que es, how do you say will in Spanish? La voluntad, disciplined. So, how do you get will when you don't have it?
I mean, I have will for certain things, but I'm just like everybody else. I don't have will, to work out as much as I want or to eat as healthy as I want either. So for me, it always goes back to like how bad you want it. And like Bob said earlier, if you have passion, you're going to have the will to then do the necessary steps to get your goal. Your answer, Bob?
No, and you say something very interesting. I don't know if it was Bob or you. When we have a new objective, we know that it implies an extra effort and that decision and repetition is needed. That is, it is a change that requires willpower and discipline to constantly take it into action until it is incorporated naturally. Explain, Bob.
Enjoy the process, sounds like, right?
Exactly.
I actually, when you said the question, I thought of something totally different. When you guys were talking about the will, I was thinking about how many times, someone could have come up to you, or myself at some point, and if some point someone's going to say to you, you can't do that. You can't invest and have this many apartments and this many and make this many millions of dollars. You're crazy. You know what I mean? And you would have started your own radio show and someone beside you saying, guess what? So there's a little bit of stubbornness that I've had in my life, and I guarantee you had that, where someone says, if I said to someone in the beginning of college or in high school, I'm going to win an Olympic medal and win a couple of football championships. No, you can't. You can't do that. You're crazy. You got to be realistic or something like that. But, there's that little bit of stubbornness where you have to have the will where you're going to go beyond. So, yeah. And that's where I was thinking the team part of it too, and hanging around people that support you too. And it's crucial because if someone said to you, you can't do that, Martha, and if you don't have the will to go past that, because someone at some point, I'll guarantee you, there's a couple laws in life. One of them is not written, but someone's going to say, you're not good enough. You can't do that.
Of course. And I've always said the best decision isn't always the most popular. And that's why I go back to saying that successful people do things no matter what. And the no matter what means no matter the lack of support, the lack of cheerleading from the people that surround you, the lack of people believing in you. And of course, there has to be a certain stubbornness, but a certain self-confidence and belief in oneself to want to defy what other people think you can and cannot do. Agree?
100%.
You want me to go work with you? Es que les digo, a ver, hablemos de la voluntad y la disciplina. Y ellos dicen algo bien interesante. Cuando tú tienes un nuevo objetivo, sabes que eso va a implicar un esfuerzo extra y que esa decisión y la repetición que va a requerir es el cambio que tú tienes que hacer de manera voluntariosa y disciplinada para constantemente hacerlo hasta que se vuelva algo totalmente natural. Y entonces dice Darren que claro que uno puede tener disciplina y voluntad para unas cosas y para otras no. Dice, por ejemplo, la verdad es que yo no tengo tanta voluntad para estar entrenando todos los días y poniéndome super fit. Tengo mucha voluntad para los negocios. Y lo que dice Bob es, a ver, yo creo que lo más difícil es el hecho de que no solamente tienes que tener voluntad, sino cierto nivel de terquedad, porque muy probablemente vas a tener gente a tu alrededor diciéndote que, oye, cuando él dijo, oye, yo quiero jugar esto de manera profesional, yo quiero ganar una medalla olímpica, pues mucha gente a su alrededor le dijo, estás loco, ¿cómo crees? Yo no creo que puedas hacer eso. Entonces, requiere terquedad, seguir insistiendo en lograr esa meta, 1. Y 2, también depende de la resistencia que tengas a la opinión de los demás. Yo siempre les he dicho que la mejor decisión no siempre es la más popular. Y por eso repito que la gente exitosa es la gente que logra las cosas a pesar de no tener el aplauso, a pesar de no tener la aprobación de los demás, a pesar de que tu familia y tus amigos no te digan, claro que sí, güey, vas, tú puedes, sino todo lo contrario. Y por eso dice Bob que no solamente es un tema de voluntad, sino también es un tema de terquedad y de rebeldía. Y de desafiar lo que mucha gente cree en base a sus creencias y expectativas de lo que tú puedes. Y por eso ellos también hablan de algo muy importante, que es rodearte de un buen equipo y de buenos recursos. That's also something you talk about, and we'll talk about your upcoming super conference, about having the team around you and the resources to help you, jump to the next level.
And the next level, that's, so I think, what holds people back. It's like, for instance, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you're not going to be a millionaire in a week. So what I like to share with people is just little steps. And if you can hang out with a team, the resources of other people who have done it, and they can show you little steps to give you confidence, it gives you more willpower, in my opinion. So little things. Let's look at your business card. Okay, you need maybe a better brand. Don't have a Gmail account. Have a proper .com name for your business. Just little things people can do. Start to get some confidence. Start to see, okay, these little things are easy. They work. And then you can keep gradually moving up the ladder of basically, how to keep being uncomfortable, doing things that work, and you can see the success in your business.
Claro. Es que hace rato decía que Bob siempre dijo, ¿cómo te comes a un elefante? Pues te lo comes a pedazos, con pequeños pasitos. Y entonces regresa Darren a lo mismo. La importancia de tener gente que te apoye, recursos para construir tu autoestima, y eso tiene que ver con pequeños pasitos. Cuando yo hablo y asesoro mucho a los emprendedores, siempre les digo que tienes que hacer pequeñas cosas que te ayuden a construir tu autoestima y tu autoconfianza en ti mismo. Entonces, eso tiene que ver a veces con, a lo mejor, voy a hacer una tarjeta de presentación mejor, que se vea más profesional, o un mejor logo para mi empresa, o voy a cambiar mi cuenta de email a portuspujidos@gmail.com a un Gmail mejor, que se haga más profesional, y hacer esas pequeñas cosas que te lleven al siguiente paso, pero que a su vez vayan construyéndote la fe en que sí puedes, en que sí vas a saber. Did you understand what I said?
Poquito.
Okay. Your team, your resources, Bob, that are supposed to surround you and help you go to the next level. What would you say about that?
Well, my story is actually kind of crazy. This is what taught me, and it goes back to the get comfortable being uncomfortable. We had a conversation about relationships. We always bring it down to one thing. We always say, how's the relationship? So the cool thing, the guy I lost to in the Olympic final, name was Bruce Baumgartner, first 4-time Olympic medalist ever in the sport of wrestling. I didn't have a good relationship with him. We just kind of look at each other and kind of nod and go the other way, even though we both spoke English, and the relationship started to mature, and that he invited me down to train with him at Oklahoma State University, where he was the coach, and all the resources, the weights, his wife was the athletic therapist, everything. And people back in the day, this is so cool that because my son was an Olympic wrestler too, my youngest one, and he goes, Dad, do you know they call it a Bob Molle? And I go, what do you mean a Bob Molle? It's because everybody used to train in their own country all the time. Don't show that other person all your stuff and how you're training and stuff like that. And he paid for me to go train with him in Oklahoma State, and that's what really that relationship and that partnership we talk about, that team. We ended up in the Olympic final together, but if it wasn't with him, I would have never got there, right? And the coolest thing at the end of it, he goes, it's a Bob Molle. I said, what's a Bob Molle? He says, and it's exactly what Darren talked about. He just said, you go to who's the best person in the world, and you go train with that person. Doesn't matter if they're in Russia, you know what I mean? Yeah. You go train with that person, you get better. And now everybody's worried about, I don't want them showing my stuff. And when everybody just went, okay, let's get better, both of us. And I remember the line he told me, he said, how about you and I get ready for the Olympics? And then it's so cool that whole, because it was all about resources and team and putting a team together, but now it became an international team. And that's what you do with the entrepreneurs, is everybody learns from each other, right?
Of course. Les digo que la importancia de las herramientas y los recursos y el equipo para llegarte al siguiente nivel. Y decía Darren que es bien importante rodearte de gente que sabe más que tú, de gente que te puede aportar, de gente que te puede enseñar, de grandes mentores. Y Bob cuenta una historia de que cuando él pierde ante otro jugador que se llama Bruce, pues él no tenía ninguna relación con él, no se volteaban a ver, y si se veían, volteaba para el otro lado. Y de repente él le dijo, oye, ¿por qué no te vienes conmigo a Oklahoma, a otro estado, y entrenamos juntos? Y para mucha gente hubiera sido, ¿cómo crees que vas a entrenar con tu competencia? ¿Cómo crees que le vas a enseñar a tu competencia cuáles son tus debilidades o cuáles son tus fortalezas? Y dice que su hijo, que también acabó siendo luchador profesional, le decía, oye, a esta práctica le llaman la práctica Bob Molle, porque era muy poco común que dos contrincantes acabaran entrenando juntos. Y así es la vida, así debe de ser la vida. Tienes que rodearte de gente que te ayude a ser mejor, gente que te catapulte al siguiente nivel, sin miedo, sin celo, sin competencia, sino verdaderamente formar tu equipo para fortificar tus debilidades y fortalezas y llevarte al siguiente nivel, que es mucho de lo que hace Darren en sus cursos de emprendedurismo. My friends, great to see you again, Darren. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
We always love learning. Bob, nice to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine. I love your energy.
Have a great time this weekend in Mexico.
We will.
And please come back soon.